a good friend of mine who works in broadcasting, who's known me. We started working out, we started work and our together the first week at the BBC in '92. And she's a British Sikh, so she understands. And we were good friends because we were the same age. And she met my dad and mum, etc., when we were young kids when we first started work. And she sent me a message, which was to say, "What an achievement!" Blah blah blah. Just before I was about to start, just as before we were going to go live, I get her message on text, and she says, "Your dad would have been proud." And actually, I hadn't really thought about any of that. I was getting on with the program, getting on with work. It was, it was tight. It was a difficult thing to pull off. It wasn't as easy as some people might think. And at that moment, literally 5 minutes before we were about to go on air, I started crying. I tried to, because I then realized, you're right. Oh, if my dad was here, it would have been probably one of the proudest moments in his life. Not because of two things. One, because every dad's proud of their kid achieving something, but there is that. But also for somebody like my dad's generation, who, came here, he drove to this country, to then think that his son or daughter or one of his children or grandchildren, or whatever, was able to kind of like do something like this for his own community, for the religion that he was a follower of, etc. All of those things. It would have been an incredibly proud moment for him. And I think actually a lot of the feedback that we've got has actually echoed that with people who don't know you. So people getting in touch to say, "Oh my God, I finally," or following it on social media or things that people have shared, where people say, "Oh, I saw myself," or "I saw my religion," or "I saw the things that I believe in treated in the right kind of way." So for younger people, it was even though you'd imagine for a lot of them probably think, well, and the big deal is what? We're here, so why aren't we treated with equality? Even for them, the fact that it happened was a big deal. But for people of my generation, it was kind of like, yeah, we thought we might get round to this, but wow, it's actually still happened. And then for my dad's generation, the ones just below it, maybe, it is definitely that sign that we've arrived. I remember I went from a five series BMW to a Jaguar, right? In another lifetime ago now, 20 years ago, whatever. And 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 the Jaguar was nowhere near as expensive as the 5 Series, right? But it had broken, so I had to get it. And I fell in love with the car and I bought it. And I remember my dad, when he saw it, he was like, "Well, got a new car?" And yeah. And he'd never commented on me getting a new car. And then he was telling everybody when my sister came, he'd, "Have you seen Aaqil's Jaguar outside?" And in the end, I said, "Dad, you know the 5 Series was worth more than this, right?" I just had to, this is a heart car, that's a head car. And my dad said, "Yeah, you don't understand. When I came to this country, government ministers drove around in Jags." The fact that he could buy a Jag with the money he had in his just hanging around in his bank, right? He could have bought one. He never bought one. He never owned one of those cars because they didn't do that. They spent it on us, right? But the thing is, for him, irrespective of what cars we all drove, the Jag meant something to him because it was a symbol. And I think that's what this is. Being on BBC One in prime time, delivering a religious service of this nature, filmed in the way that we did, properly. Um, I think that's a sign that we arrived.